And I'm excited to get to Pasadena and have a chance to see them and the Buckeyes go toe to toe.
Speaking of the Buckeyes, let's go to Andy now. He'll have the last question, and he's asking about Ohio State. Go ahead, Andy.
Do you got me now?
Yeah, I do.
All right. I figured it out. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Kirk. Yeah. And Kirk, you talked about in your intro there, obviously the prestige of the Rose Bowl. You're an Ohio guy. You're an Ohio State guy. You understand it. Do you happen to have any insight when it comes to Ohio State, their feelings towards being in the Rose Bowl, and whether or not they should view it as a consolation prize of sorts, considering that Ryan Day said right after they were named as going to the Rose Bowl that it wasn't really what they wanted out of the season. They obviously play for championships and wanted to make the playoff, but now they're going to the Rose Bowl. Just didn't know if maybe you had some insight into that.
Well, Woody Hayes coached a lot of years. Earl Bruce was at Ohio State, John Cooper, Urban Meyer. And I think even before we had a BCS and we had a playoff, the goal was always to go to the Rose Bowl. For Bo Schembechler, it was to go to the Rose Bowl, right? How often did they actually go to the Rose Bowl? Not very often. And yet they still went to another bowl game, and they still were excited to go play in whatever bowl game that they went to. I just don't buy into this narrative of meaningless bowl games. These teams have always had goals. The high-profile teams have always had goals to get to the championship or to get to a certain bowl. And it doesn't happen all that often. But you don't throw in the towel and say, well, we didn't accomplish our goals, so we're not real happy about going to this bowl, but we're gonna go. I was on a team that did that. We lost to Michigan in 1990. And back in those days, you fell way down, and we went to the Liberty Bowl, and we had players on our team that were basically bad-mouthing the city of Memphis and the Liberty Bowl publicly to the media. And we went down to Memphis, and they hated us. And I don't blame them, for the things that were said after that Michigan loss. To me, I get being upset. I get like, hey, we didn't accomplish our goal. We didn't beat our rival. We didn't go to the Big Ten championship. We didn't go to the playoff. But hey, man, we're going to the Rose Bowl. Like, it's the Rose Bowl. We used to have to try to deal with the consolation prize of the Citrus Bowl, but this is the Rose Bowl. And, maybe these players that are struggling to understand it, maybe when they get out there and they get out on that field, maybe it'll dawn on them like why this bowl is different or why it's unique. And I hope they do. I get being disappointed, but you got to shake it off and move on to the next game, and get the bad taste out of your mouth. It's not like because we have a playoff that teams before a playoff didn't achieve their goals and still went to play at their bowl game and look forward to it. I don't get it. I never will. If you're a competitor, you like to play in a game, and let alone 100,000 seat stadium and a ranking, or a TV rating that'll be as high as a semifinal. My God, there's the tradition, which I know today's player doesn't really get that, but I think you do once you get there and you get into that stadium. I think you start to feel it a little bit more, but I hope this isn't our new norm. I hope it's just an era that we'll somehow get out of. But I think the quote of meaningless bowl games, is the Akron game a meaningless game in September? Are we just going to pick and choose where a game has meaning? Your team is playing an effing game. Like, it matters. You go play and you go compete your ass off. That's what you do. That's your job. I don't get meaningless. I never will.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Okay.